Welcome back to the Horse Racing Network with me, Izzy Phillips, and I'm joined as always by racing broadcaster and journalist Paul Alster and Jack Milner from Quiff. We're going to take a look ahead to some Saturday racing. We've got really good cards across the UK. We're going to kick things off with Wetherby. I'll do my usual weather forecast. If only I had a green screen behind me, but it's actually good ground, good firm in places at the moment in Wetherby. I know they've been watering quite a lot. There's no rain in the forecast at all, other than some potential light showers in the early hours of Saturday morning. So I know they're quite keen to get the water on there because of that. And obviously we have got a grade 2 with the Charlie Hall Chase. The market suggests that Protectorat has a really good chance. He's currently favourite. We've also got Hewick, only cost €800. Pick Dorhey, Ascot Specialist in here, Jello, The Real Whacker, and Garlaw. So, Paul, I'll come to you first. Who do you fancy in this one?
It's a good race. First of all, I can confirm your weather report because my mother lives not far from the track and she's a bit upset at having to still be going out with a watering can in the back garden and watering her petunias. Anyway, so yes, it's they are going to have to put a little bit of water, I think, at Wetherby, which is unbelievable, at this time of year. This is a very good race, I think, possibly slightly better than last year's renewal, which was won by The Real Whacker. He's in the race again. He beat Braveman's Game in the race last year, which at the time looked like a cracking performance, but subsequent events maybe suggested that might not have been the very best renewal. As you say, is he Protectorat favourite for the Skeltons? And, he's a cracking horse, as we know, and probably at his best when he's got a bit of give underfoot, although he did run a good race against John Bon over 2.5 miles at Aintree at the end of last season. And for that reason, I'd be probably opposing him. I will be opposing him. Jello is a horse that I think is going to be bang there for Venetia Williams and Charlie Deutsch. I think he's got a proper chance of running a big race, still just 7 years old. The one that I initially was siding with was Pic D'Orhy because he's got such a great record fresh and he likes decent ground. He likes a sound surface. But it's just a question mark over the trip. There's 3 miles at Wetherby, even though they have realigned the track after they extended the A1 a bit. It's still a stiff uphill finish to the line, so you've really got to stay. And for that reason, because of the ground, the trip, and the fact he's already had a run and shown himself to be in very good form, I think the old boy Hewick is going to put in a big effort here for Shark Hanlon and Gavin Sheehan. And I think that at around 4-1 or so, as he is at the moment, that's pretty good value. I imagine that he'll probably go off shorter.
Yeah, I mean, there's been some interesting comments, hasn't there, by Shark Hanlon with Hewick saying that his target this season could be the Stayers Hurdle. So we know he is very versatile, though. So he's no concern in a chase here or over this distance. I think that what I find really interesting, Jack, is that Pic D'Orhy's quite well fancied, and obviously he does have that good record fresh, but he feels like he's become somewhat of an Ascot specialist this year. Would you like him to get a win at Wetherby?
I don't know. I personally wouldn't like him to win, so I won't be backing him. The key to Pic D'Orhy is he's just going better horse going the way around. If you look at his form, his success, he's won a place like Kempton and Ascot, and you go even further back, Huntington, he jumps slightly. He jumps slightly to his right. So when he's running in, obviously the left-handed track, he really doesn't play to his strengths. He will have Harry Cobden on board, and we saw Harry do a great thing for us last week with the Emma Lavelle trained off in the 3 miles handicap hurdle. I think Harry is easily the standout British jockey. In terms of piloting at present, him probably just ahead of Sean Bowen. But notwithstanding that, I agree with Paul. I think Hewick has all conditions to suit. He's got a run under his belt already. It's a stiff uphill finish here. I think it's 4 fences in the straight at Wetherby. And you'll see him rallying on the Gavin Sheehan. Him and Protector at the shortest in the market because they're getting £6 from their market principles. But I don't think 3 miles of good ground is what Protector wants. I think that run behind John Bon in defeat was probably form-wise his best bit of form the last couple of years. John Bon, I think, rated around 178, 180. No, I think he's better 2.5 miles. When he won the Ryanair, when he won the Melling Chase at Aintree, 2.5 miles was a bit of cut in the ground. Do it to me, 3 miles good ground, long split finish. I think he should be favourite. I think he will be sent off favourite.
Yeah, I think I would probably agree with both of you. So we'll end up with 3 selections for Hewick there. I do love Pic D'Orhy. I think he's absolutely fantastic. I think he'll do another one of those Ascot chases again this year. That's for certain. But I'm just not sure about him elsewhere currently. So a 3-way selection for Hewick. So speaking of Ascot, though, and Pic D'Orhy, we have got a really good card at Ascot this weekend as well, where the forecast there is very similarly as settled as it is in Wetherby. But hopefully we don't get any kind of sand on the track, which is what we had for Champions Day. So fingers crossed that the watering hasn't gone overboard at Ascot, because I do think that they find that it doesn't drain particularly well, especially down that back straight and on the bend for home. It seems to kind of kick up quite a lot. But we'll kick things off at 2:05, where we have a Class 1 Premier handicap. And top of the market here, we've got another Skelton runner with L'Heure de Sud. We've got Marta Tour in here, Boot Hill, General Medrano, Teddy Blue, Petit Tonnerre, Saint-Brou, and I'll say bigger the rest because we've still got another few runners in there. Currently 13 entered at the maximum field of 18, which is good to see for jump racing. Jack, I'll come to you first for this one. Do you think that, even though maybe Protectorate's not going to do the business over in the Charlie Hall, do you think that L'Heure de Sud can over at Ascot? I think that would be quite a popular double on the day, I imagine, Protectorate and L'Heure de Sud.
Yeah, and I think it's the same connections to Jed Mason and Scott Experts. And so I think if you look at the race cards, I don't know what quality is going to turn up. Whether it be the red Sir Alex or the things white with a little bit of shading down the sleeves. It's a tricky one. He's one of these Dan Skelton improvers. In these types of open handicaps, you're looking for second season chasers. That was the thing with the Velos last year. He's not very good as a novice. Now you expect him to improve. Going into Open Company against some of these hardened handicappers have been around a long time. Something like Boot Hill, we mentioned the changing man last week, being Nicholas Foss. Boot Hill, I was always waiting to get right. He won a good race at Kempton a couple of years ago under Johnny Burke. Never really got it together. I think he won this race 2 years ago from Michael 149. He's Michael 157 now. He's one of those where he's going to be lumbered with top weight in the handicap, or he's going to be running presumably against the stone better horses in Grade 2 or Grade 1 race itself. So he mauled I can't pronounce Skeltos. Let's do so. If they were going to win this at 155 or 157 and giving upwards of 10, 11 pounds to the field, they would be looking at something like a Tingle Creek after that. And I don't mind them carrying the weight in this set of ground. But a couple in behind this, General Medrano was very impressive at Newbury last year. He's got a great record fresh, and again, the Lavelle horses are absolutely flying at the seat. She still operates around a 40% strike rate the last few weeks. And Teddy Blue for the fledgling yard of Harry Derham. He was a big improvement last year when Huntington kept him, and I lost his way near the end of the season running, I think, at the Sussex Champion Chase there, when nothing really went. He made a couple of mistakes down the back, and he didn't fire off Michael 131. But he's another one. I'd be open to a lot of improvement. He's got a mark of 131 on the revised mark. Yeah, I'd be keen to oppose those carrying a lot of weight around here, just given the fact you've got a lot of horses behind that have the potential to improve a lot further.
Harry Derham's currently operating at a 43% strike rate as well for Teddy Blue, so could be a really good selection for you there. Paul, are you in agreement, or have you kind of gone elsewhere with your selections?
Well, I'm going to go elsewhere, really. I mean, I'd agree with most of what Jack said there, really, about those towards the head of the market. I'm looking at one, though, a little bit further down the list, and this is the Irish runner, Special Caddo for Henry de Bromhead. He's got Mikey O'Connor, who's a really good conditional on board, claiming £3. And this horse had some really decent form last season. And he ran in a Grade 3 chase at Roscommon just a month ago. just beaten a length and a quarter, and that was off a break since the Galway Festival, where he ran creditably in a decent novice chase. I think here off 142 with the and then the claim, and the fact that he's a horse that does seem to be at his best on decent ground, and with Henry de Bromhead in cracking form over the last month or two, I think Special Cadeau, who's somewhere around the 14-1 mark, is probably good each way suggestion here in a very open race, because we know he's ready to roll. He's already had a run. He's got the ground. The stable are in form, and not easy to assess those Irish novices coming into English handicaps. So he's the one for me.
I really like the look of Sambrew for the Nichols stable. Obviously, he started to have a few winners now as well. You have got Jay Tidball on board taking 5 off. And when you look at his form towards the end of last season, he's beaten quite a lot of these. So if he can come back in that same form, his record fresh isn't quite as strong. But if he can come back in that same form that we've seen last season, he could have a very good chance here. He's a good price at around 11-1. Be interesting to see if he runs kind of creditably. Might be a good each way shout. So that's about my extent of my knowledge on on this handicap chase. But we have got another one that comes at 3:45, and we've got the top of the market here, a horse that we really were looking forward to seeing last week. Well, Jack definitely was, and unfortunately ended up being a non-runner, and that is the Changing Man. For the Tizzards. You've also got Henry's Friend, who's had a couple of, definitely had a win last season at Ascot. You've got Neon Moon in here for the Pike team, Marble Sands, and then got quite a few others as well. Towards the bottom of the market, I can see an on favourite there in 2 for Gold as well. Jack, I have to come to you first, really, here with the Changing Man. Is he still getting your? He's still getting your selection?
Yes, and I mean, again, everything I said last week, play horses and feeling the need of it's a weird thing, national hunt racing, where you have this kind of unbridled loyalty to certain horses that you continue to back and cheer on, even in spite of them either not being good or whether they could be on luckless runs. It's such a strange phenomenon of the sport where you feel I don't know, but you have to kind of follow them regardless if they are in a purple patch or if they are sliding down the handicap. Yeah, the Changing Man, Mark 142. So last year, he finished last year 3rd in the 3-mile novice chase entry. He was well beaten behind Caldwell Potter. He looks, and he got to 14 for the same connections as a protectorate. He does look like he's going to be a proper animal, but the Changing Man would probably want ground a little bit softer. I'd worry about him running to his option when he won his not 12 months ago, but last season, the Reynolds Stanley one. It was pretty soft that day, and I wouldn't be going all in on good to firm ground, but he should be a nice tune-up. Which I presume his main aim will probably be, or was the Henderson and the Ladbrokes Gold Cup at Newbury, where the Tizzards have a great record. I don't know whether Paul's going to mention it, but Paul, are you going to put up Le Coq Hardy and I'll let you talk about him?
No, I wasn't actually. No.
All right. Well, just the same angle you mentioned. Henry de Bromhead, Mikey O'Connor. These unexposed Irish novices running in British handicaps. He's got a mark of 141. He's just a 6-year-old. He was 3rd in a point-to-point in Ireland, so you presume chasing was always going to be his game. He was 4th in the Kerry National in his first start running against season handicappers. I thought that was a good run. I'm sure he stayed 3 miles that day. He's up £4. Again, the jockey takes off 3. I'd be very wary of Henry de Bromhead just coming over in these types of handicaps. So for me, if I was to put my colours to the mass of anything, it would be the de Bromhead course, Le Coq Hardy.
And then Paul, obviously, we're not picking up Le Coq Hardy. So who are we going for?
I think he'll run well, Le Coq Hardy. I've just got a slight doubt about the trip, but we'll see. I mean, he did run well in the Kerry National when he was 4th there, but I just wonder if on this stiffer track it might find him out. Jack's spoken about those to the head of the market, but one that I think is going to be really tough to keep out of the frame at least, is the Pipe Runner, Neon Moon. Because this is a horse, you get some horses that are better at particular times of year. And we talk about spring horses for Aintree and so on, but there's also some horses that are just better in the autumn. And for me, Neon Moon falls into that category. He won first time out last season a really decent 3-mile handicap chase at Chepstow off a mark of 132. He didn't win after that, but he didn't run badly on a number of occasions. And I'm really, slightly surprised to see him running off £2 lower than the start of last season. He'd run well in a decent race at Ludlow. He'd run pretty well towards the end of the season when it probably wasn't, his time. But I think they'll have him ready. He also has won first time out the last 2 seasons on decent ground, which he's going to have at Ascot. And so, yeah, I'm expecting a big effort from Neon Moon, around 15-2, 7-1, 15-2, something like that. And I think he'd be the each way call for me in what is a really tough race. And it's a cracking handicap.
Yeah, I think, Neon Moon is always quite popular. It's nice that he's got the same colours as Native River. So you tend to kind of gravitate towards these horses as well. I know I've backed Neon Moon a few times, but the one I mentioned has got a course and distance win at Ascot and actually hasn't been back there since. Is Henry's Friend for Ben Paulin and Ben Jones. So I would fancy him to run well, and I'd probably go with him at the odds. Can get best odds at around 13-2 at the moment. So I'll probably just stick my selection there and go horses for courses. And he does also have wins in kind of December time. So it's not quite December, but maybe he can kind of find his form. But yeah, I think a really, really quite competitive card at Ascot, actually. I think some really good racing this weekend. And if you're still going, you might also get an opportunity to look to Ireland, where there is also another good card at Down Royal. A little bit more of a tumultuous weather report on this one, though, I have to say, because there's currently a wind warning in place today. They've had quite a lot of rain, and they've got some rain forecast on Saturday as well. So the going there is perhaps likely to be a little bit softer than we are seeing in the UK currently, but it's sort of like good to yielding at the minute is kind of what Racing Post are reporting. And we've got an exciting race there, actually, because we have got the Bet Victor Champion Chase. Top of the market is kind of unsurprising, really. Looking like Envoy Allen is very well fancied. You've also got Spillane's Tower in here, Founder 50, Western Fold, who Gordon Elliott has said is being targeted at the Champion Chase this year. You've got Affordable Fury, Stellar Story, and Flash Collonge as well. Paul, I'll come to you first for this one. What wisdom can you give us? Do you think that Envoy Allen is a cut above this lot?
Izzy, if you're looking for wisdom from me, you're going to have to wait a long time. No. Well, Envoy Allen's won this twice in the last 3 years, so you talk about horses for courses, he loves it. He really loves it at Down Royal. So he's got to be, very much in the mix once again, but he's getting old. He's going to be 12, of course, on New Year's Day. So, he's getting, towards the twilight of his career. And you would think there'd be something younger and a bit more keener, and that might be able to lower his colours this time. Now, I was very interested to hear, because I hadn't picked it up, about Gordon Elliott's thoughts of Western Fold as a Champion Chase horse, because here he is, sending his horse here to 3 miles against some proper 3-milers. So I wasn't overly keen on his chance prior to what you said, and I'm probably less so, even though he's done wonders really in handicaps, doing terrific stuff, winning at Galway, winning the plate, and then he won again at Gowran in a grade 2 last time out, where he beat Affordale Fury, who interestingly is taking him on again. And he's a horse that I do like for later in the season, Affordale Fury. But although Founder 50, I think he's going to be a potential danger, there's a stamina query for him. And that brings me to Spillane's Tower, who will be my choice, and I think will be favourite. Jimmy Mangan trains this horse. He's a very good horse. He won a couple of grade 1s in 2024, including over 2 miles for the John Durkan. And he's won over the trip in the past. He was, of course, favourite for the King George at Kempton on Boxing Day, but the track didn't suit him, and he was badly hampered early and never really picked up. And then his season was over more or less after that. He missed Cheltenham and finished second to Galopin de Champs at Punchestown. I think they're going to wipe the slate clean with what happened last season. He's a really good horse. He's very highly regarded. I think this could be a perfect opportunity for him to get off to a winning start this season. Spillane Tower.
Nice. Are you sticking with the McManus runner with Spillane Tower, Jack, or does your interest go elsewhere?
Yeah, I mean, I hate to kind of be in conjunction with everyone else and agree in agreement with. Yeah, I think Spillane Tower, a horse to win. In my head, it's always the Power Sport Cup. That 2 mile 4 grade one at Fairyhouse, you get really, really classy horses in that. I remember, there's been some really, really nice horses win that. Tomato win it. Fleming Star won it, I think. Famous also to do with David Casey. But yeah, and if you're going to win that 2-4 in the Norwich, you should be able to skate 3 miles quite well. He wasn't really disgraced. He was second behind Galopin Chance last year at Punchestown. But again, as Paul said, he's a beaten favourite at the King George when nothing seemed to go right for him. But it's an easy 3 miles around Stan Royal. He's got younger legs on his side. I think he's only a 7-year-old. And for me, it's a 2-horse race with Envoy, Elaine, and Spillane Tower. And this could be the race where he's been given time. He probably spent the winter down at Martisdown with JP. He's been looked after, and he's officially got £2 to find £1.50. But if it be Spillane Tower 5-2, that's probably where mine would be going on the day.
I mean, even though he's obviously stepping up in class here, I am very interested to see how Western Fold runs. I mean, if the Champion Chase is the target, you're going to want to see a particularly good performance here. He shouldn't have any issues with the fact that it's 3 mile. Obviously, Champion Chase is shorter. But I think that he's the one I'm probably most looking forward to seeing. I think I would expect a good performance from Enviolent, but I agree with you, Paul, in the sense that the age maybe is a little bit of a concern. Not to say that, these old chasers can't go and dominate, because they absolutely can. But it would just be a little bit of a concern for me. I think Western Fold is where my interest lies anyway, just in the race in general. But I don't have a strong fancy here. But I think a good Champion Chase, a good grade 1 at Down Royal. So hopefully we have collectively found you a winner somewhere, whether that be at Wetherby, Ascot, or Down Royal. If you're looking for a Breeders' Cup preview, keep an eye on the channel, because we are doing a Breeders' Cup special as well. But as always, thanks for joining in, and do join us again next time.